Hello everyone, this is Don from Kingdom 362, known as GunMuse, affectionately the Nightmare of UAC on our first one. If you watched that video, it was quite fun to put some of the new math into effect. Our little C-27s were slapping around a couple C-30s like they didn't even have troops. It was a beautiful thing. I encourage you to check out those videos just because we looked good doing it. What we're going to talk about today is a new calculator, and that is the new math that I was playing around with UAC. I was waiting for the new kingdom to get to the point that we could get in a UAC fight so that I could spend basically 24 hours beating on guys that were bigger and stronger than me in theory, and proving that I can take down somebody 3, 4, 5 levels above me, not only with some ease, but basically every single time. It was pretty incredible results. We were taking full-blown rallies on a C-27 from C-30s. Beautiful way to set this thing up. The game is designed to not let somebody come in there and coin and overwhelm somebody. You get that falsehood out of your head that that's the way it works, because it just doesn't work that way. All right, so we've added some stuff into the new calculator that we hadn't had before, and basically I've moved some things around so that new players don't have the problems, because a lot of the calculators were built off of KOA, Kings of Avalon, and it was built in the order that that interface is set up. Well, Guns of Glory is what we're talking about. It's all we talk about. Yes, this math works in both places, yada, yada, yada. Well, you Kings guys can finally have the rough time setting the stuff up. I made this for the Guns of Glories guys. All right, so what we've done, we've brought the number of tiers down to a total of 7. And the reason being is, when we started seeing the lower tiers in there, we were getting a kill count, and the 2 to 3 year old assumption was somebody had to die. Why not let the lower tier meat do it? Well, that's bad thinking, because the reality is, if you set your formations up properly, almost nobody has to die. It is real easy to get 600,000 kills and you only lose 3, 4, 500 troops. So the new formulations actually go down through the tiers. We use a customized percentage. I've worked it over time, and I'll continue to work on it. This is version 1 of this calculator. I've put about 90 days into this. My own alliance, I've been promising them a beta of this thing for, oh God, it must be a month. And so here it is. It's ready to go. So I'm going to go over real quick. Put your March Cap in there, your high tier. Now, here's the thing about using Excel spreadsheets for calculators. I can't tell the calculator that you only have 6 tiers or you have 9 tiers. I would have to be making up magic math in order to make it look like the calculator did something for you. So, the calculator is designed for people who have tier 8 and up, C22s. Okay. That's at a C22, you can go and join in the KVK, the UACs, and we just showed our C16s on how to get 120, 130,000 points in a UAC. Guys had a ball once we did a UAC, and they realized that they weren't going to always get beat up by the big guys out there, that when you work as a team, it works well together. It works great. All right, so what we've also added in is a new calculator for the Musketeer fort. That's the daily. And you see this victory thing that I just did here. I was just double checking before I jumped on film. All right. This is a C-32 that I just attacked with my C-27. All right. He's got a bigger airship than me. He's got 4s, and hell, he's got a 6-star. Wow, he's got a 6-star. I wouldn't put that star there versus my 2 stars. All right. His guards are level 50s. Mine are in their 30s. And I just killed 242,000 of his troop march versus 10,000 on mine. Okay, now I got fairly superior stats. That's why they're pairing my C27 up with C32s. Is this guy can't. How do you have a C32 and your stats look like that? That's not even basic building stats. That's what's sad. Is he hasn't even gloried up his building. Somebody needs to grab a hold of this kid and slap him around and say, stop spending your money. All right. So there he was, castle level 32, loot success, blah, blah, blah. So we're going to go in the calculator and we're going to show you how to set these numbers up. And, I'll show you there. My success rate's about 81% right now. I also dinked around with this for quite a few days to see, because the numbers in here are different than the standard PvP formation percentages that we use. I thought we could just move our PvP numbers over to the fort. We could not. That's why you see that 62% win rate. It took me a while to figure out where do they want these numbers to be, because it looks like they kind of turn your PvP numbers into a PvE setup, because they're only letting you play with one tier. And not to get too complicated for people, but we try to break out. There are 3 legs in a player versus player interaction, and we're trying to break a leg off. Usually the infantry leg's the easiest one to break off, so that's what everybody that builds a calculator focuses on. How do I cripple your infantry leg? Because once I kill your infantry, everything else collapses underneath it. All right? So that's the thinking there. There's somebody that should be evenly matched with me. And he actually got more kills. He's got better stats than the C32 as well. All right. But, I'm not even the 500s here, so I probably don't have my airship or something turned on right now. I'm plus 500s on my C27. Go through some of the other videos, and we'll show you where the important areas since the new patch, some of the $5 packs where we try to keep your spend under $40. There are 3 or 4 days where the $5 packs are outstanding stats. You do not need to chase SK gear. There is a bug in the SK gear. We may go over that in one of the videos. But you could wind up spending $3,500 on SK gear and get beat by somebody in DH gear, because there is a bug in it. We've submitted that bug report, but I don't know what's going on there. It was one of those things where, yeah, we know, but they didn't have a plan of action. So, is what it is. Spend more money, get less stats, which is what it come down to. All right. So, we're not going to show you much of the game this time. Now, to download the SpineBreaker Excel spreadsheet. All right, here's my pretty little Excel spreadsheet. Put your tier in there, tier 8s, tier 9s, and 10s. Okay, we're only going to go down to, so if I switch this over to tier 10s, we're going to go down to, it's going to recalculate for going down to tier 3s. All right, and I dinked with something. Right there it is. All right, problem fix. I color-coded it so that your eyeballs can go from line to line. You know you're staying on infantry. I've put it in order so that when you go... Oops, not right one. Did I close it? No. When we go over to our formations, this is a thing that annoyed me about Revenge. And that's because they were built for KOA. I shouldn't say nothing. The Revenge PvE calculator, that math is about as dead on as you can get. Ours varies just a little bit. I found like a 0.5% to 1% more damage from my gear setup that I can tweak in there. So I tell everybody, start with the basic numbers we show you. Take a little from somewhere, add a little from somewhere, and then find out what you're doing. So when we go into our formations and we're building these formations, right? Infantry, cavalry, distance, artillery. Well, we put infantry, cavalry, distance, artillery. And then so you're starting a new. Usually, the people who download the calculator, I geared this towards that type of person. All right, and that is usually either a new guy who is just trying to figure out why he sucks so bad in the normal little UWs, or why he's getting beat up on the wolf or whatever. The kingdom threat, affectionately known as a wolf event in our kingdom. All right. So, and how many of what troop should I build? All right. So we're going to have some videos that are coming out on the UACs. Okay, so we got our C16s out there playing some UACs and got them all excited. And then I said, all right, guys, you don't have enough troops to run and hide. You can, and everybody, you'll have some experienced players who say, oh, start a rally and hide them in the rally and yada, yada, yada. Well, that's silly. That's not combat. That's hiding your troops. This is not hide and seek. It is a strategy game. The best way to stop somebody from rallying your big guys in the tower is to break the legs off of the guys that would join the opposing team's rallies. And they don't, if they're going to run mega rallies or things like that, do some gold spins, kill the 616 before he joins the rally, guys. So having 3 marches so that you can hit 2 or 3 targets at a time while you're plundering, 3 marches is key. It's also kind of key for KVK. You should have 3 marches so that you can throw your troops up in there. So we do a little on the second column. We do a little math for you, so that when you go down through and you are, we'll go back in there, and we're going to go over to, say, I'm going to look at infantry because I know I don't have enough distance. We've been killing things off. We hit train, right? And it says my T9s, 47,194 is how many I got. And we go back over here to my sprint. And my T9s, the 47,715 is what I would need in order to run 3 full marches. Just click, 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 with airship enabled. All right. So of course we use an airship in there, and for UACs, one of the best dollar spends for the day, for the $19, buy the airship pack. It's a 24-hour event. It is a blast. Keeps an airship at home all the time. Keeps you alive. Gets your troops speeding all over the place. If you're going to spend money on an airship pack, that's the day to do it. I've seen people spend on it in KE, and they're like, oh, it's not really worth it. Yeah, well, KE, you're going to be jumping around 3, 4, 5 times. You're going to have a few guys. But unless you got lots of money to spend, it's not worth it. But the once every 2 weeks to save up for a $20 day of excitement with an airship pack. And if you ever seen an entire alliance with an airship pack on the same time, it's hilarious. All right. So, other things we've done for the new ones. So, new UW marches, we usually put a 10K restriction on there. Well, we don't want you to suck, and we want you to learn that tiering and formations are important. So we say, hey, you've got a 10K restriction on your bosses. In our alliance, it is, you know what, I'll show you. Because we just went to 20Ks. Because my guys run formations. We've taught them early, and ours is hand-on because we are who we are. So I'm going to go out to Kingdom, and I'm going to open up my UW gate. I can't remember exactly where we are, but I think we're open. We're on Wild already, or are we on Insane? We're on Insanes. Okay, so we're doing Insanes, and I had to move the cap to 20 because 10 wasn't quite enough. And on 20, we did 60% damage with our first rally with a 20K March cap because everybody did like 50K damage with a 20K cap. We're going to be doing, but the nice thing is we'll go up 100K hit points on the next guy, and, and then by the time we get over to doing painfuls, My guys will understand formations, and when we throw full marches at them, they'll just have that one formation that's set up for their wolf, and they'll throw it in there. I will talk about this for some of the new alliance leaders. You see how we've got my big guys with the big Hall of Wars set up around the gates. All right, so they start our rallies. Okay, when you're that close, let them bring their artillery so that they set up a proper formation with artillery. It is a 15-second march with artillery if you're parked next to the gate. The 5 minutes you got to get there, unless you're parked down there in the forest area, is more than enough time even dragging artillery. It's usually 2.5, 3 minutes. From the far side, you know, and here's Lily over here. She's our powerhouse. She's actually stronger than I am. The from the far side of the alliance, and she's set up over there to guard dog this end. And then when we go over the UAC, you see these big dead spots. We're like, well, guys, could you just port right in the middle of your hive? I dare you. I don't care how big you are. We got a way to deal with that, and we'll go over some of that I will do better filming. That was our first UAC. We had a lot of explaining, so I shut the cameras off to explain what it is I wanted my guys to do, and hopefully next time we'll do more executing, because that didn't happen until like hour 15, hour 16, when all the new guys suddenly got it, and all of a sudden we looked like we were the proest team ever. And I'm going to film the proest team ever stuff so you guys see how it's done and not how it's not done. I don't know if we can go into Ultimate Alliance campaign is concluded. Okay, so this was our first one. We took number 1. Hoorah, guys. And assign rewards. And I want to show you this because this is all right. So there, me and Lily in the 500-600s for our points. See R4s, 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 R3s. And then we've got some R2s. Honestly, we had more loot. I felt so bad handing out rank 2 boxes and rank 1 boxes to people who, scored. And an R3 in my thing is just a general player. Sergeant Major Rock is a C16, 150,000 points. All right. So I think Briscoe's a C17. Just to show people, and this guy didn't even start until 5 hours before the event. He was like, I'm too small, I can't play, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what, just follow me around. We're going to show you how this works. And that's how that works. We had to take them by the hand and get them past the fear. Now they understand why they're doing and what they're doing next and what their goals are. And then we're going to add the calculator onto it. So they got a little cheat sheet to see exactly what it is. So back to the calculator. Your UAC KVK having 3 full marches of a PvP balanced march sheet. And there we tell you what your totals are, like I showed you. I go look at my infantry. I've got enough infantry to fill 3 full marches. Okay, I know I don't have enough distance. I got enough distance for 2 marches, not 3. So, and then I've got a little bit of a custom mix that I do for the distance troops. Sorry about that cough button. All right, so there's your 10K march. And these 0.5s, don't ignore it. Just ignore it. Roll it down. Everybody's gear and guard cards are different. If you've got more guard cards or gear with a better cavalry stat, slide your cavalry up. These are starting points given all things equal. And nothing is equal in this game. All right. Like I was just telling you, I run a much higher distance on my accounts. But I also put my airship and my COAs and all that other stuff, I focus on distance. because my goal is to break the legs. You know, I'm in a tank category. I know I'm going to give the first hit. And so my goal is to take as much infantry out as possible. And then one of my other players who will have a different formation will follow up with a second hit, and then they got nothing left. And this is for going after great big guys that would normally just eat your lunch. We use a couple different formations so that we can just knock the hell out of one leg, and then when they're on their behind heels, the next guy can come in there and doesn't even lose troops wiping them out. Since I gold spend in a UAC, I lose 20, 30,000 troops knocking the legs out of a big guy. Not a big deal. I'm gonna spend 800 gold and heal right back up. So it's like it never even happened, and it prevents the rest of my alliance from having to spend that gold. So the 10K, the 20K March, like I said, we've got high activity. You know, and I say we got high activity. I have taken the approach. Let's go back in here again. Alliance. We have 62 of 90 players, and we're gonna go ahead and finish up the 100. I think we're doing that right now, as a matter of fact. Yeah, we're heading towards that 100. Just because we got a KVK coming up in a month, and I'm getting very specific stats done so that we can host the KVK and have the room for other alliances to jump right in. So we'll have room to bring 50 other players from around the kingdom into one alliance where you see us starring up all these damages on the level 10, and we started our research 2 months ago with KVK in mind. Okay. Everybody else has been researching farming speed and storage protection and all this other stuff. We are March speed, damage, and cap. March speed, damage, and cap. Because there's one or two little percentages on the other ones, while nice, aren't as important as the ones you can't get, which is damage. We go after that specifically so that our guys hurt you when they hit you. Now, so like I said, we're high activity. We only got 62 players in there, and some of them are farms. So we do really well with very few people. Rather than have a big number, I make sure we have enough power laying around to be in the UAC. It doesn't matter if we're ranked number 10 or ranked number 1. We get to play in UAC. That's all that matters, is that we get to play. And during the last UAC, I took people from all over the kingdom and said, hey, you guys aren't big enough to get in UAC. We are. Would you like to come play with us? Yes, they would. And both of them won loot. So, and both did such outstanding jobs that I think they'll come back next time and probably bring friends. I don't need to keep them trapped around. I don't need to monitor them. They can go back and they learned what they need to learn as well. So, that being said, all right. So there's 10K, 20K March. Then you got the Wolf event. All right, Kingdom Threat. All right, so that's a drag artillery. You want to do as much damage there as you can every single time. Guys, buff. Buff. Get your March Cap up. Go ahead and buy the attack buff. Buy the defense buff. March Cap, attack buff, defense buff. Go into the catacombs and buy all 4 accolades. And this is something that a lot of new players did not understand. Well, which one do I put on? Because they think the frame enables an accolade, and it does not. Simply activating the accolade activates the stat, and you can stack all 4 accolades at the same time. Army damage, distance, infantry, cavalry damage. And those damage numbers are huge. They can be 20% of your score. So if you're going for a big number, or more importantly, you're trying to get those extra player XP bonuses and all that stuff in the top 10, this is where you get this numbers. You got to buff, 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 buff. And so there is your full March cap number when you plug it right in. And then I got a daily RG number over here. And you notice they're different than the other ones in total quantity. So I got 1484 for the distance there, and I got 16,000 over here in the daily RG camps. That's because I got no artillery. No one wants you dragging artillery around for your RG camps. So after you do the wolf event, your number 3 formation or your 3rd formation that you have set, go in there, plug these numbers in. Why would you do that? Whoever does the most damage gets the most loot from those rallies. And I tell all my players, everybody play to the best of your ability, and whoever gets the most loot gets the most loot. As an alliance, if you get, they open up new RG camps every couple weeks, and you can go to those higher levels and get the better ranked boxes. Everybody kind of hops on board and fills 6 guys out to get those higher ranked boxes. When those RG camps first open up, yes, you should do that. But you should also keep in the back of your mind that if it's one rank lower box, like if you have rank 5s open up in there, but somebody's running a rank 4, then just send that guy and the next guy. And if you're the 3rd person, click on the location of that RG rally and grab the next boss down. Because you're going to get 500k loot out of there, food or wood. It's 500k back to the alliance. It's 500k divided by 2, or it's 500k divided by 7. Okay, so if you know what you're going after, if you're going after chests, then just go ahead and stack them up. That'll be the new RG camps that opened up that week, and everybody's excited. You got to hunt all over the kingdom to find them. If you got one of those guys that does that for you, it's great. So, but if you're just doing normal stuff where you hit and click, 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 be conscious that you're the 3rd person joining that rally, and click the boss, grab the next boss down, and start your own rally. And then that way you're doing 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. And if you're using this formation when you do that, the least amount of troops will die. Okay, because if you don't know this, RG camps, troops can die. You get guys that just throw the wad at them, and I said, boss, did you notice you had 2,600 troops die? Oh, yeah, that's, when you're a little guy, 2,600 troops is a lot. It's a couple days worth of training. And they're not automatic wounded. I mean, you get some people killed. The Musketeer Fort. All right, I added in, and I might be the first one to do this one. Here is your defense and your attack. And guys, I will make those easier to see. Fill. No font. Bold. 14. All right. So your dailies on your fort, Musketeers, free food, free loot. Probably crappy stuff after 40 days of work. But it is what it is. So I have your defense percentages and your offensive percentages. Okay. Defense, you have to set that up once. Put all your gear on, all your buffs. Go in there and do that the day you set up the wolf. You get all your buffs, everything on there. Go in there and set your defense up. Leave it alone. Forget about it. Do not open that tab again, or it will reset to whatever you got on currently. All your gear, blah, blah, blah. On the other hand, the attack side, you got to put all your stuff back on. You got to put all your guards on. You got to put your airship back on hostile. You got to be in the spec that you were in. Be in a combat spec to get the max March cap. The defense side, you can get away with it. So when you see a lot of lower numbers on offense than defense, that's because you're getting, like me, you get a little lazy. You don't move everything around. Just like, I just need to get through the dailies, and I only throw the gear on if I'm losing for some reason. So is what it is. Down here at the bottom, And then one of the things I'm waiting for was this video that I'm recording right now. I will put a hyperlink in here for this video. All right, so that you can find how to look up this other stuff. Guys, Google is just somewhat hateful out there. If they can't own it or sell it, they don't want anybody else to do it either. But I need you to hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel to download this calculator so that you can get a cheat sheet of this calculator. It is now behind a subscriber wall on my website. All right. Had to do it. Hate to do it, but had to. Okay. So, I'm going to go up here. And log out. Continue at Facebook. I made it so that people with phones and tablets, because you're usually logged into Facebook and it's built right in there. And then poof, there's the calculator. All right. You have to be logged in order to see that link. All right. I show you how to turn around and make a one-click spreadsheet of it. I'll have a video, on how to use. I have a full video on how to use it, or this video on how to use it. I don't know. Built into the page, and as we update stuff, one of the reasons we need you to be a subscriber and have the ability to, once in a blue moon, is when they do updates in the game, I will do updates to the spreadsheet, and I need to be able to tell you that there's an update. It is not an auto-updating tool. You got to download it again. In order to auto-update something on your device, if I was to build an app or something that auto-updated the information, you'd have to give me control, and then we have to actually do business with Google directly and give them a degree of control and give Apple a degree of control. And I've done it in the past, and I'll never, ever do it again. It's not worth my time and effort to deal with people who do not have your best interests at heart. So, besides that, as you're telling the new players to come over here, there is a million other little articles that we are building or will build or in the process. And, you know, the more popular ones are Catacombs. And you see I got some of this stuff converted over to different languages. Why do I need to care about my creature? Little spinners versus free. Trying to break some of the myths of this stuff. All right. And then where we're looking for red guard events. Plus, now, let's talk about that. Because I don't think I wrote it in there, but I will before you guys see it. All right. The daily RG camp one. All right, where you've maxed all that other stuff out. And the 20K March. If you're doing a Red Guard raid event where all the troops come attack you, and you do the 20K UW March as one of your formations, and that's what you send as reinforcements, you will get a huge kill percentage over somebody who's not home that day. You will just gobble up their points. And then have the daily RG camp or the UW Kingdom threat. Usually we don't want to use that on RGR because there's only so many troops that can get in the fort. So the daily RG camp ones, if you use that formation in the fortress for rounds 10 and round 20, you will get the maximum points of kills you can possibly get on your account. So the reason we call this the SpineBreaker is maximum loot, maximum points, which means more loot per event. You know, and as you get more loot, you get stronger faster. All this stuff is designed to help you grow every time you guys run an event, so that you get bigger damage rewards from the UWs, you get bigger damage rewards from the RGRs, You get big damage rewards from the kingdom threat, and more of your troops survive player versus player, and then you actually know how to send a player versus player during the UACs so that you get more team points and everybody gets the big loot pack. Everybody wants that number one position with the big loot pack. Should be a little harder to get after I let everybody in the world know what it is we do and how we did it. All right. I'm hoping that activity and is the key breaking point for this stuff.